What's up, everybody? It's your boy,
Good, good.
CaptainShaver. We're on the second episode. I don't know if you're on the second episode. I'm on the second episode. I'm on the second.
We are the second topic.
We're on the Shaver show.
We are just on the
So
second
today we don't
discuss-
want to waste much of your time. Just want to summarize everything. Actually, last time we actually, recorded the page video.
It's back right on the educational system, you know what I'm
It was
talking
about
about?
to talk about education system. The education system. The education system. It's all about the education system. I don't want to wait. I don't want to
Hold you back and waste my
today,
job
bro.
and time.
Waste
You're just
much of
gonna
your
go
time
straight
because
on.
what's the point. So it's all about the education. And one thing I like to talk about is the system that we have. Is if everybody was it created with our best interest in how something that that's exactly the exact thing that I want to talk about today. So
We're just gonna shed some light if the education system we have in this modern day era. Does it have the best interest of humans, at heart? Let's just say of black people, actually black nations a lot. Let's just say of everybody.
I think every race is involved.
Yeah,
everybody.
we're not gonna
It's only that
racist.
maybe is as black people are kind of less privileged in all those kind of things, something like that.
Of course.
Because most of the things that actually happen in Africa, we are less privileged. The education system is,
Oh, a lot of it is just to exploit our,
mindset, something like that. So
like
I know,
damaged minds.
I
something
know
like that.
education is a very, very good thing. Because without
In an
education,
important space.
I would have been able to
Literate,
actually, use the language that I'm using right now. I wouldn't have been able to read something like that. So I think we have to actually one of the things we're going to talk about is explain the definition. So according to the definition of education, the definition of education is just information gathered in a society that is then passed on to another generation. Let's say he's a fisherman and I'm a builder, something like that. So if you happen to actually document all those information that we have and then pass it to the next generation, I don't know of the form of documentation we can use. Nowadays, there's books, we've got a bunch of we got videos, we've got so many things to document
Internet,
information,
a lot.
skills, so they can be passed on to the next generation. So I think that's basically the definition of education. So we want to adapt to the systems that are manipulating people in our today's day. Systems that have got that are enslaving people. That's one of the things that
we're going to shed some light on. Okay, talking about the first education system that was presented, it had rules and set of manipulation skills it had to give to the capitalist, and it was the Shai dynasty. It was
was there capitalism at that time?
Yeah, that's why it was invented. Because let me tell you about
there
this.
was no capitalism at the time, if I can say.
No,
because it was 1600th century.
1600th century and 2070, right? That's where it all started. Because
they were only
noble classes.
Yeah,
that was capitalism.
That
was I was gonna say.
It wasn't capitalism. I think it was just maybe because that was the driving age. If I can still remember, there was only two classes. There was the rich and the peasants. The majority of the people in the
royal family.
So there were only two classes.
Family.
So there wasn't capitalism at that time. I believe so. I think it was only for the elites. If you say
for the elites,
yeah, the elites. Yeah, I think so.
So
if you
that is just how. No, it's more like history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. From the very first start of that, they started to have importance on elite people of the community. That is just how we have today, like modern day era capitalism. It just kept on evolving. So as it was the first education system that was presented, it was for the elite. It was for the noble family, for the rich, not for the poor. Only the rich had to access this kind of education.
So everybody didn't have access to education.
Yeah. Everyone didn't have. It was all for the aristocrats, those noble family and high people with high statuses in community. Like I said, rich and who had money.
So with all that being said, how does it have the impact to our today's day?
You try to look at it right. The skills that they were being taught they were evaluation skills that could make them survive more and amass more wealth in their modern day life. And
what about the elites? So
they were already rich.
That actually means that information was only being
passed on to higher classes. People who had riches would remain riches and amass more riches.
So the rich would remain rich and the
poor would remain poor.
Okay, I feel it.
You see, that was a system that was created, and
so in our today's day, so do you believe that the system is actually present in our?
It's still active, but then it's just on a different platter. It's now evolved with a lot of deception and manipulation, but that system still exists up to date.
So so you're just trying to say that only the mechanisms have changed. Right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. History rhymes. It doesn't repeat itself.
I think what you're actually saying, makes sense. Because I believe there was this thing that I've actually heard of. People talking about a system that was created in America. We're talking about American education. There was this system of education that got similarities with the Prussian system that was used by Germany. I don't know, sometime in the 1600s century or something. But yeah. So I believe that maybe because if you look at the Prussian system, I think it is something that you really have to research. You have to look at for yourself. Because that's one of the things. That one of the main reasons why actually recording all these things, so that we want people to actually
have
go back to history and look at it. You have to look up. You have to actually look up all these things by your there's a homework you need to do. You also have to do some research.
Find motivation.
So you can actually find meaning to everything that you've been actually taught.
Question everything that is around you.
Everything. That's
question the education system we have these days.
Yeah, question everything. From everything. We're talking about anything that is religious, starting from your religion, anything.
Anything to do with your life.
Shapes your life.
What you eat.
What you eat, whatever it is, man, you just gotta
injections, pills, they give you everything. You intake into.
Even if it is an institution, because institution has been replaced by people who are like you. What if they created? What if the institution was created by a bunch of lunatics?
And it was in their best interest. It happens.
So we just want people to actually think outside the box, because there's allowed to information, there's allowed to all these systems. So
just
you have to get to the
base. Let's just give a simple example. Just like banks. Banks were not created in the best interest of people. Banks were created to steal from people.
Let me tell you something. We're talking about banks. Back in the day, I used to believe that banks were actually created to keep people's money safe.
No.
It's never safe to actually keep money at home.
That is a lie.
They don't actually tell you they don't recommend people to actually keep their money in safes at home, something like that. They want you to they always tell you. I think maybe the government actually encourages people to actually
Let me tell you how they wanted to make banks more valuable. They created a system which had to divide blacks and white, and the white had all the riches, and they put the blacks in the corner. Those blacks ended up being gangsters and creating, social groups, whatever they called, black disciples, which they had to steal from those whites and give back to the black community, because the black community was so poor and they remained suppressing it. So they introduced these banks.
So you're usually trying to say that
it was just all manipulation. Something they portrayed the blacks.
So you're connecting all these things to race, right? Yeah. But I cut it to what I think.
I
still remember there was this article that I actually made. There was a bunch of books, not really a bunch of books. So this I came up with there was this time I actually came to read this this book. It was actually saying something about banking. It was actually talking about the monetary system. So when he was talking about the monetary system, it actually it gave an insight about how the monetary system started. Because when I look at the banking system, there was a point when people used gold and silver for exchanges, right?
Of course.
So I believe when the banking system started, I think it actually started with the Chinese,
Yeah.
So they actually there was this thing they called they actually the banks came in a form of protection. They actually promised people, they gave people guarantee that they were going to take care of the gold. So everybody had to actually deposit this gold in a bank so that it actually stays safe and something like that.
That's how they said it.
When people deposited their gold into the bank, whenever you wanted to use your gold, they would actually give you a bank statement. They say, I do a transaction with you. Maybe our transaction that we have done actually cost us maybe 2 grams of gold. But if you look at gold, it is not very, I don't know if it is what they call fungible. There's these terms about money, easy to actually use. So I think that is very, very difficult with gold.
Yeah,
because I really can actually,
try to cut a piece and say, I want to buy this, I want to buy this.
So the banks actually created a system that was very, very easy to use. So they would actually write a statement that from the 50, maybe I had 50 kgs in a bank. They would actually give me a bank statement that said you have actually given 2 grams to what? To Taylor, you could say. So that 2 grams was added to your account. So there wasn't gold physically on the ground, but people were exchanging gold on behalf of what? On behalf of the banks, you can say. They were like, actually, they made transaction easier. I think to a point of where money was actually created, and then the money was actually backed by gold back in the day, but it is no longer backed by gold. So there's one of the issues we have in the monetary system. So I think that's one of the things that we actually have to look when we talk about education and the history and something like that. So all those
You
things
just have to
are very,
reflect on
very
history
important. They're
and
very,
how
very
it started.
important. Everybody has to know that. You get what I'm saying? So I think they are very, very important aspects in our lives. I think everybody has to know about all these kind of things.
You have to
They
question.
actually shape everything, because you can't do anything without money. Because money, anything, every need that you have in life is money. If you really have to take
Money
care
related.
of your health, if you have to take care of your family, something like that, if you
Everything
need to
has to do
clothe
with
yourself,
money.
if you need food, something like that, it all requires money. So I think there's a need for everybody to know
Of
something
course.
about money. So this is a very, very interesting topic, man. You know,
I know.
I think we're gonna. There's a bunch of stuff in this world. You know,
Well,
you know, back in the day, I used to actually think maybe the world was very, very straight. You know, the world was a very, very, you know, fair world, something like that. But now I'm starting to realize
you have an
everything's a sham, something like
insight.
that.
You question
Everything's
everything.
just, you know, corrupt and
It's
stuff,
corrupt
and
and it's full of
some may claim
manipulation.
to
This
be.
modern world is full
Yeah.
of manipulation.
Oh my God! Especially in Africa, I mean,
Let's just look
there's
at
a bunch of
all right.
propaganda. You know,
Let's go back to the education system. We'll go on propaganda and stuff after we are just done giving you our insights. You know, we don't want to entice, arouse the crowd with a lot of stuff we're gonna give them in the future. All right. Let's look at the education system in Africa. Is it relevant or is it not? All right. Let's talk about Zimbabwe specifically.
Yes.
Let's just talk about the Southern African. All right.
Okay.
The education system we have. In Africa, we are considered like the education superpower. But is what we are learning relevant to our
But I think
country?
it was back in the day. Maybe we were actually called superpowers back in the day, but now I think they no longer actually.
We're still like in top
education.
5 or so.
I don't think
of
so.
Africa.
Everything have changed.
Now the education, our education.
They're actually saying that, you know, there's a bunch of corruption in Africa, so the education is not reliable or something like that. So I think everything changed at a point when actually, you know, we're using these investors. I don't know. I really can't say investors, investigators, to actually investigate the education. And they actually said that you know, there's a bunch of corruption in Africa. People actually getting degrees
for fag and shit.
They don't.
I remember that
not
shit.
Earning it, you know what I'm saying? Like they're just paying to actually get a degree, something like that. So
and who are those? Let's just go back to the education system. You know, we was just giving you an insight on how.
So I think it's no longer.
We are no longer the best on you know, education system. But then let's look at it. Is what we are learning valid? Like, let's just look at from the education system from the primary. In primary, what do they teach you?
The only thing I still remember, I think they actually told me about how to label an insect, man. I don't know what.
All right, tell me how the fuck you labeling an insect would help you, or would help Zimbabwe if you know how to fucking label an insect. How is that going to help?
And there's one thing I would like to talk about. Zimbabwe is an economy that is usually run by mining.
It's mining, backed up with a little bit of agriculture.
So I think they need to actually, you know, educate all those young children so that they actually know that they grow up knowing about farming, they grow up knowing about mining, they grow up knowing about how you actually establish industries, because I think there's deficiency in industries in Zimbabwe. Of course, because we are lacking. There's a bunch of consumers, and then there's less number of producers.
That's what I was saying. So every crap that
so I don't think that creates, you know, a sound economy, something like that. And everybody blames the president. Everybody blames. I don't know what. Whoever they blame. But I think that's what they want
Africans to believe. But we don't really look at it. Yeah, I'm educated. I'm educated. Look at it. Let's compare maybe to China. Yeah. China doesn't have those stupid type of education.
I think China is
that's why it's becoming the superpower.
It is the only country that is a large number in people with degrees.
No education,
masters, something.
Not like all Asian countries
can actually, contribute all that education. China, all those skills.
China, I think, is the number one in robotics, and it's compulsory for every primary student to learn robotics. In everything they do, their education is shaped towards robotics and technology. Look at us here. How we do, like for insects. Who was the mother of Moses? Who did Moses pass on the cup he was carrying to the burning bush? I don't remember that shit.
And some other things, you know. I think there was even when we look at the history of Zimbabwe, I believe when I was in primary school, they actually told us, that Rose came to Africa because maybe he had some health conditions, something like that.
That was a lie.
That was a lie. You know,
Rose was fine and fit, he wasn't fresh and fancy.
Actual history about roads. He came to Zimbabwe to actually start a mining company.
Of course.
De Beers, I think it is actually still in existence today.
I think so.
He was sent by the Rothschild, something like that, to actually establish mining companies.
I think
establish a trading route. I don't know. That was the British South African company, right?
Yeah.
That was that wanted to actually.
It actually from that
start a railway from Cairo to Egypt.
BC,
So they can actually
whatever, I don't remember. The
British
South African company.
Yeah.
And then from it came Anglo
Anglo-American.
Anglo-American.
It was responsible for chrome, especially it was
chrome and is it chrome and what
I think any
is
minerals
it
that are
aluminium?
I think it is any
iron
minerals that are related. There was chrome and there was I don't remember the other minerals, but they were actually based in metal or something like that.
Mm-hmm. So look at it. It's irrelevant. The shit we are learning. You look at a European child, right? They are busy learning on how to mine minerals and what are minerals and their importance. But look at Europe. They don't even have those type of minerals.
Everybody's looking for a job. The president have actually given you the privilege that you can own a mine. You've given the privilege that you can actually own land. You've given the privilege that you can own a company.
Of course.
And the only thing you're only focused,
we are focused
the
on
only thing that you are worried about
is being employed, wearing a suit in an office. We are freaking dumb people. I think we don't think. We can own land. Look at it, even Britain. Land. They don't even own land.
They don't own
Only the royal family owns the land, and billionaires own the land. But here you're privileged. You can own land with $300, $200. You can own land, and that's a privilege.
Even if you try to look at, if you talk about the Shona people, we got a bunch of Shona people.
We think about chasing
some they live in the boroughs. You can actually you can actually hear somebody saying, I'm going to my rural area, something like that. Yeah. You own a land. You own land.
You don't even have a title deed to it, but it was a land,
and you live in that land, and then after all, you find people blaming Mugabe that he did what. I think you have to actually open your.
That was indigenization.
He
gave you land.
That's one of the reasons.
You shouldn't be getting land for free or these houses.
That's one of the reasons why you find out that Zimbabwe was actually maybe it was the first.
That's why even
sanctions. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the first country.
It was the first country to get
I think it was the first country.
And that's why you see our economy.
That is your homework. You really have to go and research about this thing.
That's why you see our economy is a bit low. It's a bit low. Because why? The government ran losses. They gave you land for free and people you don't appreciate. All you think about is, the government is corrupt. Oh, the party is corrupt. No! They are broke. We are privileged because they should have been selling that land to you, and maybe would have a better CEO.
There's going to be ZANU-PF, there's going to be CCC, there's going to be any kind of part that's going to come into the picture. We all have the same interest. We want to make Zimbabwe and Africa a better place.
So I don't believe in.
So if there's any opportunity that's being given by any party that you think it is given, if
it's business related, take it. Man. Stop blaming people.
You've got to take it because what we need is building Africa. We don't want opposition. We want to build the nation. So if there's
not causing commotion on people
actually provided by any of these, political parties, as long as it actually brings impact to the country, as long as it keeps on. I
don't even have problem with the ruling party in here because all they do is for the people. They offer indigenization for the people. They offer everything. They even offer jobs, offer land. So what's your problem, people? You utilize those chances, but all you think about is they need to create jobs where we can wear suits and look all flashy. Why? Because you are dumb. You are dumb. That's the truth. Because you just want to look flashy.
You are an actual citizen.
That's why they created those degrees. My point is, they created those stupid degrees, degree of making a fridge, degree of, I don't know, whatever. There are a lot of degrees, and a bunch of you are wasting your time in universities because those degrees are going to be outdated in the next 2 or 3 years.
I know there's something I really can't say that you're wasting time. We really can say they're wasting their time. Some they might be using maybe their time. It's good to actually learn all those things.
No, I'm not saying it's bad, but most of them,
all those things, you should actually use all those skills within your country. I know the schools don't teach us how to open up business, so there's need for Africans to actually open up business. So all those degrees can come into what? they can actually, you know, be useful. You know what I'm saying? So there's need for everybody to actually,
But
you know,
let's just
study, you know, about, you know, business,
of course,
learn how to do business, because even if you, so I think everybody, you know, should be able to participate in the economy. I believe everybody has a role to actually play in the economy. So talking about the economy of Zimbabwe, I don't think it is wise to actually learn about refrigerators when you know that
it's not
our
valid.
economy is actually in need of business, you know,
business-minded people and people who need to open up
people
businesses.
who need to open up businesses, because we are at ground zero in Zimbabwe. So I don't think it is wise to actually go and pursue a degree.
That's where it comes to my point, like
that will actually, you know, expose you to a foreign nation.
Of course.
Because if you look at, you know, most of Zimbabweans, they're actually getting all these degrees so they can actually get out from the country.
Why are you running away from your country?
You don't run away from your own country. You have to build your own nation. I know that a bunch of people run away, you know, to America to pursue a greater career and get a better salary, something like that. But you are going to America, a country that was built by its own indigenous people. You know what I'm saying? They are indigenous companies.
Of course, a lot of them.
One good example we can actually give to people. We've got this neighboring country of ours.
Look at South Africa. Right? They had no one of them. All they think about
they've lived a bunch of, you know,
reckless life.
A bunch of years in harmony.
No, was it harmony?
No, there was no harmony.
There was no harmony ever in South Africa. They were gangsters, and all they thought about they saw themselves as the America of Africa.
I think in the whole continent,
they actually thought they were the super
flyers. The only ones who actually live in a, you know, better life, something like that. So
that's what they thought, but they were not living a better life. Let's talk about the reality.
They were special, you know.
and look at it. The reality is there is no state-owned bank in South Africa.
There was never
even
a single black-owned bank in South Africa. You know what I'm saying?
Or that is the indigenous
Reserve Bank of
South Africa. It's not even the Reserve Bank of South Africa.
It's in private hands. You know what I'm saying? All the mining companies,
all the companies. Let's just talk about all the companies. All the companies that that offer development.
The core companies
that are responsible for all the roads and buildings
all the development
in South Africa. They are not from South Africa,
you know what I'm saying?
And all their profits and their money was going abroad.
They're owned by private corporations. All these big corporations from
now
let's like that.
And South Africans were like, we don't care about education or so.
We don't give a shit.
We don't give a shit
about is my piano.
But they were dancing, alcohol. You can find
in South my own business, something like that. If you look at all the local
and South African gets paid.
Focused.
He doesn't go to work. They spend 3 days getting drunk and bitches and stuff. All they thought about is Amapiano. But let's look at it.
And then the world isn't it the country with the biggest rate of HIV?
Yeah, it's the biggest with the highest rate of HIV. People are always just thinking of getting drunk, sleeping with each other, but they never thought of what's going to happen. And when those
I think
when those companies were done stealing their resources from them. Now in South Africa, there's going to be a shit hole in South Africa. You know what I'm talking about?
It's going to be a shit show, my friend.
All countries, all those transnational companies, they are closing.
If they're closing, if they take if they take all their wealth back to their countries, I think people are actually going to suffer. You know what I'm saying?
In South Africa, there won't be anything. And all those they finished all the minerals in South Africa. Why? Because South Africans paid less attention to education and paid less attention to opening their mindset. All they thought about is we fly, we gangsters, we just steal from each other and stuff. But all those companies are going and they established xenophobias. They did xenophobias.
How can you kill your own kind, man?
So where are they going to land? Because most of the South Africans there, they are not educated. A lot of people in South Africa who are educated and who are working from Zimbabwe, from from other countries.
Yeah. So they're all foreigners.
And those companies are flying. So there's going to be a lot of high unemployment rate in South Africa. And what else? Every child is going to be born in a debt. Why? Because they have a debt. South Africa has Eskom has a debt because South Africans paid less attention to paying out their electricity bills. They thought every shit was for free. I don't know.
I think Eskom was actually backed by all these mining companies.
Of course, and
they
In the first place, ESCOM was created to power up all those mining companies and stuff. It was never meant.
It was never mentioned that they, they were doing something like that. But soon as
but when they launched, they were like, we are a South African company. We had the best interest of people. But now they're turning back and saying to people, well, South Africa, you have a debt, and every child that is going to be born under a debt whereby that was left by their.
Everybody who lives in those townships, something. Actually, they're saying that all those children are actually born in debt because a bunch of.
So you see, the type of education they were that was being landed on them. They thought everything was fly, and how they persuaded South Africa. Then they gave them the World Cup. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it was just all too blind.
So they would actually think that we're all equal in this world.
There was nothing equal about it.
Special things are actually happening to Africa.
Of course.
Oh God, these whites. Oh, they love us. I'm not trying to be a racist, but I'm just saying what it is. That is the truth. That maybe either you don't want to take JT.
So about South Africa in the modern day education, we will tell you. But let's go back to the education system.
Let me tell you one thing. You're talking about all those kind of things. I believe one of the reasons why Zimbabwe has been or had been sanctioned or is actually in sanctions.
We had
drowning in sanctions.
We had a wise man for a president.
Because we had a wise man for a president.
He refused all this.
The main reason why all those sanctions were actually
imposed on
us.
He was a smart man.
We actually took back our land.
What was ours? We nationalized. We nationalized everything. And
there's one thing that Mugabe did. He
gave back land to the people.
Yeah, he gave back land to the people because the land actually belongs to the people. So he had to actually give back the land to the. He had the right.
He had the right to give back the land to the people by force or by because they were refusing to comply. They were saying we own this, but they were never from an African country, and they were saying we own this land. Why?
Now look to the African people.
Look at South Africa. Now it's all in a mess.
I think what only
in South Africa, people they don't even own land. Why? Because they wanted to, I don't know.
Maybe they wanted to stay in the comfort of a white man.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be racist, but I'm just saying whatever it is. And there's one thing that people don't actually
and it's not every white that's...
I think we're never taught these things, When all those Jews were actually being violated in Europe.
Of course.
Do you know there was compensation for that? For all the violation they did?
Yeah.
I think they actually gave them somewhere around, I don't know if it was, if it is not billions of dollars, I think there were trillions of dollars. Compensation for all that. But in Africa, they never did that
for all the colonization shit they did. All they did after that, they even imposed sanctions on us for fighting back and retaliation to owning what was ours in the first place. They killed millions of blacks. They enslaved us. But all they did, they came back and imposed sanctions. And a lot of people, we don't want to go back to that. Let's just...
We are very, very concerned about slavery, something like that. I know it's a thing of the past, but looking at the future, it is actually,
that element of education never left enslaving us. And you people don't even see it.
I mean,
you're all being programmed to be worker ants. Because what you are learning is to work under a white man who owns something. And what these white children are learning from Europe, they are learning to own the land you have here and all the minerals you have here in your African countries.
You know what? Maybe you might go to school. Okay, let's come to a point of actually saying that we have gone to school. I think it is actually maybe we share the same school with the white patients and that. Obviously, we're going to learn the same things. But this, and I think today's day, this it does no longer actually fall in a race. It is no longer a race thing. I think everybody's now involved from every race. Everybody's now involved in the picture. Because people
wisdom is just flowing.
I think the governments, they're always all these governments they like to exploit people.
Of course.
So I'm not saying really can't say government. I can actually say the capitalist,
because it's not the government. Or sometimes the government is even run background by capitalists. Those people who have millions. Let's just say we're not going to talk about nationality, but just know there are a lot of capitalists, and that country is a big manipulator of the world.
Okay, let me tell you something. Let's say I want to dive into politics. I want to dive into politics.
Yeah, that will be our next topic. But okay, I can give you a go ahead because I was not going to accept any political shit in here. But
so if at least I want to dive into politics, I have no money, but I've got I've got, I'm actually good at linguistic skills. I can actually, talk to people in a very good way. I can convince people. I know the laws. I know how to do this.
Sweet tongue,
I got sweet tongue, something like that. And I want to actually, campaign for the election. Obviously, I'm gonna need to be endorsed. So there's gonna be a billionaire somewhere around.
Backing you up.
Who's actually gonna
maybe
back
3
me up.
or 4.
Maybe he's a capitalist. Maybe he's got a bunch of laws that he wants to set in the nation.
That
So if
would
he
only
backs me up,
benefit
if he
him.
gives me all the support. If he's got if he has control in media, if he actually advertises all my campaigns and everything, if they go smoothly and I win the elections, if I win the elections, he's gonna need some favors. I think that is one of the.
No, he's gonna run you from background because your success came from him, and he's going to be ruling that country. If there are 5, they're going to be ruling you, and they're going to insert a couple of rules. Why? Because they have businesses. They all have the millions, so they are going to give you a set of rules that will benefit them. That is how it's.
I think they will actually both benefit. That's one of the things that actually happens.
You benefit, of course. You get into power, and they start giving you a little bit of money, and you start stealing. I don't know. Is it stealing or it's taking incentives from them?
That actually usually happens in most countries over there. I think that's one of the the mechanisms of politics all around the world.
So what I'm saying is, people, you need to question the type of education we are being taught. Look at it. Look at a fucking university student of Zimbabwe who is bragging, "Oh, I'm learning in I don't know, technology or IT." Let's go back to a child in China who is like in grade 6 or 5, knows how to make a watch. What about you, university student? Do you even know how to separate a watch and put it back in action? You don't even know how to do this.
And there's another thing, talking about the education system. I think that we're actually there's a bunch of theory, especially in our education system. We actually have there's a bunch of theory. Practical
irrelevant.
There's less practical in all these things because we have got nowhere to practice it. Because one, we're actually adopting a degree that has been launched in America. And in America,
we don't have the facilities to back up that thing.
They've got everything. They've got every machine. They've got all the technologies that they be learning.
They have companies.
So they have a place, or they have
where they go and do those practicals.
Yeah, they have or they think they have a place and they have machinery to actually do the practical thing. We're talking about Africans. We don't have all these kind of things. So we just learn things, and then I think that maybe that's one of the things that actually creates the mindset of people loving to go to other countries so they can actually use all those skills in a way, so they can actually go and apply those skills, because in Zimbabwe, I think there's deficiency.
And when you are done, all right, let's talk about where you go and you are done. Let's say you are learning robotics, and when you are done, let's say you pass and you go back, you go and study now in let's say China or so. When you are done, when are you going to find a job? Where?
It's going to be a hard time, especially in Zimbabwe. It's going to be a hard time.
So you're going to find a job either in China or in other European countries, and who is going to benefit? Your country or their country?
Because once you're employed in America, let me tell you something. Once you're employed in America, once you're employed in UK, whatever country that you're employed in, remember that there's income tax that is going to fund that government.
Of course.
Everything that you do, you're going to actually rent a place, you're going to buy stuff, everything. So you're going to be paying all those kind of things. If there's any tax
the government,
you're actually boosting that country's economy. Living your own country for the sake of
what you are creating is going to be sold maybe to your country.
That is what we call brain drainage system. You get what I'm saying? They drain all the energy, all the brain, the brain.
So which comes back to my statement.
Let's come to a point of I'm
worker and you're just. The education system you are learning is for you to get employed under a European superpower, and what they are learning is to use your resources and use you and own your resources, and you become their workers. That's what I'm just saying.
Because if you are a worker, if you're paying anything, then if you're paying any expensive that you have, maybe you have rent expensive, even if you purchase a mortgage, something like that, you are
rent is a killer thing in
giving that money to the corporations of the country that are then coming back to Africa and take the natural resources of Africa. So it's like you're killing your own country. I'm not trying to say that you don't have to go to all those countries, but I'm just saying that.
But education is good. If you're going to come and invest in your country,
I'm just stating facts over here. I'm not trying to.
We are not racist. We are not racist. We even love everyone. I even dream of having a white wife.
We just want to give you what is going on.
It's just an insight.
What it is, this raw truth. You know what I'm saying?
So
That's-
if you have
that's-
to give an insight, you have to come back from history and how it's linked to the modern day era.
So if you look at history, you actually get a picture of what is going on.
Yeah.
What happen in the future. Because if you look at
But just to clear that we're not racist. I even love white women actually. Not that blacks are ugly, but that I just have a thing for white women. So let's go back into what we're saying. Okay? What I'm saying is you have to question the education system. You have to open your mind. If your education is not bad, I'm not saying it's bad. No, it literally does. Like I can speak English. Well, I'm learning Spanish too. Pretty soon, this El Nino will be able to speak Spanish. You know what I'm talking about? And so it's good. It illiterates. You are able to communicate with the world and other people and understand what how they are learning, how they're surviving. How it's creating understanding. You gain natural intellect, and it civilizes the people. Because you imagine me, I would have been walking in a motherfucking cow skin or lion skin. I don't know.
I think that was going to be different. Maybe we actually evolved something.
You see,
Africans were actually going to be evolved. We were actually going to evolve. I don't think even if they did this,
I
these
don't
people,
know that.
even if they come to Africa,
Now,
would have actually
we would
done
still
something.
be a prosperous nation. Maybe just not with technology and stuff.
Because I think there was interruption in Africa's history. There was a bunch of manipulation. There was a bunch of things that
Yeah,
faded
we'll
out
talk
from the
about
country,
that in
from
the
history of
political
Africa,
stuff
like
because
that.
it was all political gain. So, talking about that will be in our next topic. In our next topic, it will be political because we are all
And I don't know,
fired
we
up.
haven't said anything. This was just reaching off, just giving you content so you can actually,
So we gave you
share
an
with us,
insight
yeah.
on education.
Just
So
because,
if you're out there, you watch this video, make sure you study and you just go and research on education.
This was just this was just.
You tell me all the stuff you
giving you
learned,
hints
was
on
it
things that you should be
relevant?
like
Is it
looking at.
relevant to helping your country? And is it relevant to pushing you to open businesses? And does it open your mind, your mindset to think outside the box? Or all you think about is finding a job, working,
And then
and then having kids,
apply for,
and you
for a
apply
visa
for
to another country, live in your country,
of course.
in a
Of course.
fucked up disaster.
So I think that's all I can give you about education. I don't want to talk about a lot of stuff because it all turns into political and the financial, stuff. So we'll talk about financial and political maybe after we talk about political in the next
We're not even done with what we've been talking about.
Yeah, we're not even done.
This was just,
It's just a piece. We're just introducing.
still introduction.
It's still an introduction.
This was
of
nothing.
education. We're just gonna follow the systems we promised we did.
We just want to give you, like
a view. So where would be coming from? Where would
you really have to research about it?
Of course, it's just a base.
Know what is actually going on in this world.
It's just a base of where we are getting our information and where we would be coming from. From the whole Shavers gang and the Shavers shop.
This is only for educational purposes.
Of course. So from me, your boy, with the shaving heat, because I'm still burning with the heat.
And I'm about to shave off.
And I'm about to shave up, shaving and fly.
Voila.